going on, guys? NoGuides here. Welcome back to another video. I just want to do a quick review on the team of the week and plus the new Fofana card that just got released. So in terms of the Fofana card, it's a very good future stars card, and the benefit is it will be upgraded long term. It's actually quite easy to do. You basically just score 4 goals using French players, assist 2 goals using 70 overall. In fact, you know what? I'll just scroll through these and you can pause it. But you know what? I would say get this done. If you can do this maybe under 10 matches, I think you got a pretty good card here. Now, the only issue is you have to score in 16 separate matches and even higher 25 games to get the higher end card. So if you go to Footbin over here, we can see the lowest Fofana card, or Fofana should I say, isn't really the best. He hasn't got the best of sprint speed, hasn't got the best stand tackling and slide tackling. You can argue someone like Wan-Bissaka is arguably better, but when you get him fully upgraded, let's say around the 86 mark, he then becomes a very much feasible card. The main thing I'm looking at really here is the high defensive work rates. This year is a bit more important so that player stays in position a bit more, but it's also the agility and balance. Now, me personally, I would still prefer a fullback over Fofana, but if you're completely used to using centre backs and you don't want to stray away from that, I think this is a very good card. He's got very good jumping, good stamina, good strength and aggression, and he's 6'3", so he's absolute wall in the back. When you look at some of the key stats like the stand tackling, interception, defensive awareness, it's what really makes a good defensive player. I don't really look at slide tackling because rarely you slide tackle. 6'3", as I mentioned. And when you put a shadow on him, 78 sprint speed becomes a very feasible player. Now, he does have the 90 short passing and he's got a 3-star weak foot, so you can still distribute the ball from a centre mid position, potentially even playing a deep lying CDM position. But the key thing over here is the decent agility and balance. It's not the best, it's not the highest, but compared to a centre back in the Premier League, there isn't that many options. And for the fact he's a free card, you really can't say anything wrong with it. So if you have a Premier League team, I'll strongly recommend you doing this. And even if you have, for example, there's some other cards that came out very recently, you might have known there's other French centre backs. If you want to create a hybrid squad, feel free to do that as well. But don't forget there was also that TOTW card. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing him, but if you compare them by face value, you got like almost a 200k player, or 250 should I say, for almost the same price. So Premier League, everyone wants him, a free card. I can't say anything wrong with that. When we go over to the team of the week now, the team of the week is pretty decent. There isn't, well, when I mean decent, there's never really a good team of the week. Unfortunately, red picks are not really worth it this year. This is why a lot of players are not really gone towards the team of the weeks, because, you know, it's kind of no point even getting it. The main marksman players, I suppose you can say, is we have Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, should I say. Of course, he scored a hat-trick over the weekend. We have him. LUKAKU, which I wouldn't really recommend, which I'll get onto his stats in a second. The main thing I wouldn't recommend LUKAKU is he hasn't got the best agility and balance. Someone like Aubameyang at this stage of FIFA with that agility and balance, I still wouldn't play him very centrally. I'll play him like a lamb or a ram or a left mid or a right mid, left wing, right wing. Or you can play him in this 2-striker formation, because he is, at the end of the day, 4-star. 4-star, so you can play him with someone like Neymar, someone like Ben Yedder, someone that's very agile up front. Whereas LUKAKU, I'll be honest, it's really not worth it. You're better off just getting someone like Gomez or someone else, Insigne, anyone else, as opposed to LUKAKU card. He's got too bad of agility and balance. We go over to Muriel, which is actually a very, very good card. 4-star, 4-star, high, medium. I used to love this card in FIFA 19. Got good agility and balance, decent strength, but the most important things I'm looking at, that finishing, that sprint speed, and that balance. You definitely put a finisher on him. I think he'll be an exceptional card for a striker if you're looking. So instead of going towards LUKAKU, you're better off going towards Muriel. We've got Marcos Llorente, another inform card, looks to be another meta tier card. We know his gold card is very much very, very good. High. This time is even more effective. He's a right mid, that's the only downside. So if you want to play him, you can start him off chemistry, or you can move him in game, or you can play him as a right mid in the center mid position on 7 chemistry. Good sprint speed, good positioning. Now, I personally would go in this situation with an engine, just because I think he's got naturally good stand tackling. I think if you want a box-to-box centre mid, I think next to someone like Valverde in a 2 CDM variation, I think he's a very, very, very good card. I wouldn't play him on the wing though. You might be thinking, hang on, maybe he can actually play on the wing. I'll still play him centrally, because I think that's where he has the stats to do almost everything. So definitely put an engine on him and play him in centre mid, or you can even go towards someone like an anchor, or even someone like a gladiator to get that balance up if you want to as well. Don't forget, when you have there's certain chemistry styles that are better off for certain players. So if we go look at Llorente's card for a second, this is what I mean. If you put, I think it's a gladiator, but no, sorry, it's not a gladiator, apologies. it is, if I'm not mistaken, the Guardian. That way you get that balance up and you get the defensive stats as well. So that's what makes it a very, very good card. If you can play him on 7 chemistry, like in a center mid position on 7 chemistry with a Spanish manager, like I would say any Spanish league manager or someone like Pep Guardiola, then I think you've got a very much good card over there. Of course, Banega, too slow in all honesty. You can't really use him. He's just a bit too slow, especially for this stage of the game. He's just way too slow. We look over to Ndidi, which is actually a very, very good card, almost like a cheap Kante. The only problem with this Ndidi card is they always end up to be pretty expensive. SBCs. I don't know what his price range is right now. It's up to 250k. It's kind of his road to the final, or I suppose you can say this card, I forgot what it's called, UEL Europa League Live. It's not a bad card as well, but I'll be honest, with that kind of money, you're better off just buying Kante because you do get that agility and balance. The good thing with Kante is you do get that agility and balance over someone like Ndidi. So although he does look like a good card, the agility and balance on Kante with the shadow makes Kante a much better card in my opinion. So he's not a bad red pick if you do pick him. Does have medium high work rates. We go over to the left hand side. Again, I'll be honest, just too slow. Unfortunately, just a bit too unusable. HILTON, which is actually not that bad of a card. Not that much of a card that I really see in the League One card. But then I look at his pace and I'm thinking, what the hell is going on here? 40 pace. I mean, come on, EA. I know, for example, he hasn't got the best of base stats, but it could have been a very good card if you just gave him even 77 pace. Of course, it'll never happen on the inform card because inform cards always take, for example, the gold cards and then they kind of bump it up. But I mean, like, you know, it would have been nice if they made it at least even 60. You know, it would have been actually a very good card because his stats are actually really good. But then when you have that pace, it just makes him absolutely unusable. I wouldn't even use him even as a sub. He's almost just fodder. You just get rid of him. You're never going to play him. You do have Stones. Again, is a bit too slow in my opinion. Just do that free card. Fofana, I think that's how you say his name. You're better off just doing that instead of Stones. If we go over to this guy, again, too slow. See, a lot of these guys, I'll be honest, they're just too slow. They're not really worth it. This Martinez card, though, is actually not a bad card. What's his height? 6'5", and he has got goal kick long throw, so actually not a bad goalkeeper if you're looking for someone. Maybe he could be in contention with Pope, you never know. And on the bench, you don't really have anyone. This is a card that I was actually pretty looking at when I just came out for the Bundesliga. If you're looking for a cheap centre back, the main thing is he has that 89 sprint speed, which makes him a very good card. He does lack the balance, but if you're looking for a centre back alongside someone like Klosterman, he might be a very good card because he's got that very high sprint speed. But that balance is something you have to bear in mind. Saar was one good card that's always been good, and typically speaking, other FIFAs as a super sub. I see him again as a super sub. If you do get him in your picks, I would say, you know what, why not just take him? You can always bring him on as a super sub. He's got 98 sprint speed, just dash him down the wing. He hasn't got the best agility and balance, but because he isn't, I suppose you can say, the most usable card, you're not going to be using him the entire game. Maybe you bring him on as a sub. I'm not going to play him as a sub because my team is already stacked, but if you haven't got the best of teams, that might be a card for you. Someone like, you can get someone like Lise Malou instead of this card. Probably better than this anyway. And there isn't really anyone really that much to go with. I was looking at this card now. You can move this guy into centre mid. This has actually always been always good. I didn't even know we played striker that game. But you can actually move this card to a centre mid card. When a game came out, I used him because he's got good agility and balance. So you know what? If you can maybe make him into a centre mid card, he actually, I think he's high, right? Oh, he's medium. But even then, I think you can play a good centre mid card if you are going to be playing in the League. And I think that's pretty much it. There isn't really anyone else here. There is this card, I'll be honest, I've not really seen this card. High, medium, 6'3". No one's going to really got the links, and of course the balance is a bit of a shambles there. And that is pretty much it. We do have Gomez. Hang on. Agility balance not that good. It's not like the old school Gomez. But anyway, that is kind of this a team of the week review. I'll be honest, if you're going for the red picks, obviously get the highest cards you can get for sure. Go ahead and do that. If you do get Montreal, I'll say definitely take him. Lorente is a super sub, even in Ndidi and Aubameyang and Lukaku, the obvious ones. And for the lower end ones, you can go with someone like this as a super sub again. You could have also go with Martinez as the goalkeeper, but apart from that, isn't really the best of team of the weeks. But I mean, compared to some of the rubbish that we've seen, it's actually not that bad. But of course, the Fofana card, is really the card that you want to be looking at. It's a top tier card, and I think if you get him fully upgraded, and that's if you get him fully upgraded, I think it could be worth it. Stage 1, when you first initially get him, is not that good. Stage 2 is not that bad. Stage 3 he becomes, I would say, somewhat usable, but the only thing is the CDM. Would I play him in CDM? No, Kante is still going to be better than him. But then when you look at the 86 card, so it is a long grind, but the fact he's a free card, French, gets the links anyway to other French leagues. You can even fit him around like some other French players like in Bundesliga or Ligue 1. Then it becomes very much a feasible card. But anyway guys, that's the Team of the Week review and objective review. Thanks for watching guys. Take it easy and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.